has to make matters worse, right? First, a tragedy like this to happen. In fact, let's not call it a tragedy. This is a clear case of absentee municipal corporation. How could this take place? This is a clear lapse in the way the municipal corporation and the civic bodies there function. And then on top of that, for the government to not acknowledge the reason, not even acknowledge the number of people dead.
No doubt about it, Sonal, and it's not tragedy, but it's a man-made tragedy because we have witnessed this on ground. We have been to various parts of Indore where we have seen how the untreated sewage water is entering into the houses of people, making the drinking water contaminated, which is leading to various people falling ill, and many have lost their lives. We have been to Bhagirathpura, we have been to Ambikapur, where the drainage water is flowing in the streets, and there is no official could be seen on the street to ensure that proper cleaning is done of these areas. Not only this, what is more glaring here is that the river of Indore, Khan River, which is a famous river here in Indore, is also being contaminated. We have seen those pictures where the untreated sewage water is being discharged into the clean river water, which is yet again making the main source of clean water, that is river, a contaminated water. So this shows as to how the claim of being the #1 safest city in the country has been completely exposed, and not only officials but also politicians should be held responsible for that. Yesterday, Kailash Vijayvargiya, who is MLA from Indore and also a minister, he said that he is going door to door and he is ensuring that proper arrangements are made, proper cleaning water is supplied to the houses of people. He could not be seen on the streets. The councillor, mayor, they are completely absent. We are trying to reach out to these officials, but they are not responding. Finally, Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh has decided to take actions, and he has, decided to remove few officials, but that is not enough. He has to ensure that clean water is given to the people. Sure. He has to ensure that proper facilities of water and sewage water, sewage system is given to the people, but that is completely absent from these localities. And this is not new. We have spoken to various locals and they are telling us for the last many months they have been raising this issue, but nobody listens to them. When elections come, they reach at their doors, but when it's time to work, they do not do anything.
Piyush Mishra, they're not mincing his words and telling us very clearly that there seems to be not just not acknowledgement of the issue on paper in front of the High Court, but absolute absenteeism that is being seen on the ground. There doesn't seem to be an urgency in the government to even respond to this absolute man-made crisis of ensuring that bad water and contaminated water, sewage water has entered, the lines, and that has now taken away lives of people as well. But what's the story all about? Let's tell you that in a bit of a detail now. Now, Indore for years was ranked as India's cleanest city. Now, in a confronting that grim reality is what has happened now. Its drinking water has turned toxic, killing at least 10 people so far and leaving over 1,000 sick. This most basic civic promise of safe water has become a silent killer in Indore. In the Bhagirathpura place, as our colleague was also pointing out, residents reported foul-smelling, discolored water days before severe diarrhea and vomiting sent families rushing to the hospital. Laboratory tested that and now confirmed that bacterial contamination in the water supply, allegedly caused by pipeline leaks, has allowed sewage to mix with drinking water. The response came after the damage was already done. Clean water tankers, medical camps and investigations followed. Deaths, not warnings. The National Human Rights Commission has now stepped in, calling it a possible violation of the right to live, right to life. Politically, blame is flying. But the families who have buried their loved ones altogether, explanations are coming in too late for them. If the country's cleanest city can fail to protect its water, the question is unavoidable: how safe is the water flowing even in our homes or anywhere in India? This is a detailed report.
Insects lying, frothing, and a foul smell. Surely, this is not water fit for drinking. Yet, this is water the residents of Bhagirathpura in Indore are getting to drink, even after the tragedy that has already claimed several lives and left many in the hospital.
मैं ये देख पा रहा हूँ एक पानी के पीने की लाइन यहाँ पर है और सीवेज की लाइन भी यहीं पर है.
India Today is on the ground, tracking every detail, and shocking information is now coming to the fore. We found that the sewer line and the water pipes run side by side.
This water pipeline which is here, with this we have the sewer pipeline. So you can see as to how the sewer line and the main water line which goes in the houses of people is connected, and that is one of the reasons that contaminated the entire water. There was a leakage in one of the connections. Because of this, the contaminated water entered into the clean water, and because of that many people were forced to drink the contaminated water.
The residents share their plight with India Today.
हमारे भी भर्ती है, बहुत ज्यादा हालत खराब है उनकी भी. हमारे सासू माँ है भर्ती है, 6 दिन हो गए, अभी भी छुट्टी नहीं हुई है, अभी भी हालत उनकी अच्छी नहीं है.
पहले नहीं था, पहले पानी अच्छा आता था, अभी कल परसों से पानी इतना गंदा आ रहा है कि पिया नहीं जा रहा है.
काफी दिनों से गंदा पानी की शिकायत आ रही थी, पर जन सुनवाई नहीं हो पा रही थी. इस कारण अशुद्ध पानी के कारण कई लोग बीमार हो रहे हैं. अभी तो हम मोल का पानी ले रहे हैं.
Meanwhile, the lab report confirmed that contaminated water claimed lives, left people ill, and that the pipeline leakage led to water contamination. Minister and local MLA Kailash Vijayvargiya asserted that the government is working to fix the problem, but it will take time to check the entire area.
में जो संभावना थी कि पानी में सीवरेज का पानी मिला हुआ है वो कंटेमिनेट है, हम 100% चेक करेंगे. कम से कम इसमें 8-10 दिन लगेंगे पूरे कॉलोनी को पूरा की पूरा माइक्रो चेकिंग के लिए.
The Congress has launched a scathing attack on BJP over the issue. Rahul Gandhi took on Prime Minister Modi and questioned his silence on the deaths, saying that poison was given to people instead of drinking water. His lieutenant and Madhya Pradesh Congress chief Jeetu Patwari echoed the same.
मैं आप सबसे आग्रह करना चाहता हूं कि अधिकारी भी दूध के धुले नहीं हैं, लगातार यहाँ बैठे हुए हैं तो भ्रष्टाचार के हिस्सेदार हैं, पर इसमें इसको लीड करती है बीजेपी की ये जो चुनी हुई जनप्रतिनिधियों की टोली, ये लुटेरों की टोली है.
Workers of the Grand Bowl Party hit the streets and staged a protest outside the Indore Municipal Corporation. They even poured dirty water on the posters of Kailash Vijayvargiya.
लोगों का ये मानना है कि घर में पानी का कनेक्शन नहीं आता, जो पानी की लाइन है वो फूटी हुई है, ड्रेनेज पानी जो है वो रिस के लोगों के घरों तक पहुंच रहा है. और हमने भी ग्राउंड पे रियलिटी जाके देखी है कि कैसे जो है वो सीवर का पानी, नाले का पानी जो है वो लोगों के घरों में लगातार जा रहा है, जिससे कि पानी दूषित होता जा रहा है.
Meanwhile, a status report has been filed before the High Court. The court will now go through the status report and take up the matter for hearing on the 6th of January. The government is woken up from its slumber after the deaths, and junior officials have been made scapegoats while senior ministers stay away from the heat. We've just entered 2026, and yet clean water in a city like Indore, which prides on its cleanliness, now feels like a luxury. With Piyush Mishra, Bureau Report, India Today.
From clean water to clean air. Well, welcome to 2026, where everything is a challenge. The new year has begun, but one issue remains firmly in focus here on 5 Live, which is pollution. Just because 2025 is behind us and we've stepped into 2026 does not mean Delhi or NCR is free from toxic air, though today it's slightly better. The wind speed has cleared out the AQI slightly, and today it was finally sub 200 in pockets and for limited hours. Let's see how long that lasts, actually. But the reality is stark, right? We're still living in a gas chamber, and many are still fighting for the most basic right, the right to breathe. We often think of it as a Delhi problem, but here on the program, we've constantly been telling you it's a India problem, 60% of India problem. And one city that's often ignored, but perhaps pays one of the maximum prices for it, is Gurugram. There, a citizen-led movement highlighted the worsening air quality in the most, pressing ways. On New Year's Eve, Gauri Sahin, founder of Making Model Gurugram, began a hunger strike, demanding urgent action against the apocalypse. More than 100 people joined the protests. In fact, she skipped the party celebration, choosing instead to welcome the new year with the demand for clean air. Now, for all of these people who you see over there, it is not just a protest. It is a resolution that they want people to take up and fight for in 2026. And can you really blame them? Because in December, remember, Gurugram was the worst month that they had for AQI in nearly a decade, where the average AQI was almost 300. And these are, remember again, the government numbers. Private monitors indicate that air may have been much more toxic. And the situation hasn't improved. This morning, Gurugram was again 232 in the poor category. Like I said, this is after a bit of a relief that came in after the wind speed that sort of cleared the air in the Indo-Gangetic area. Delhi again remained in the poor category over there. Much worse, of course, as always, is at 300. The calendar has changed. The air in the country clearly hasn't. Joining us now live is Gauri Sahin. She has been on that hunger strike. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time. I firstly want to check the status. Are you still on that fast, or was it a symbolic fast?
Yeah, so I started with a 27-hour fast and staggered it, and starting all over again from today at 7 o'clock. So this fast started on the 31st of December. We were on the streets. I was personally on the streets with me, a lot of residents of Gurugram. We followed it through till tomorrow night. And again today night, 7 p.m., I'm restarting this fast because the action has been really very slow to come. There has been some action on the ground, but it has not been adequate enough. As soon as the announcement of the fast was done, the GMDA CEO ordered a coverage of the drainage dust mountains lying there for the last almost 3 years, Sonal. And it's been really shocking that year after year, every time GRAP is put into force, and even before GRAP is put into force, we have been conveying to the GMDA, to MCG, and to various authorities, including the minister who became the new Minister of Environment last year, Mr. Rao Narbir Singh, that dust is a very, very dangerous problem of Gurugram. Unlike Delhi, where there are many other factors which are more important. This area, especially GCER, which is the golf course extension road, has become a dust bowl of Gurugram. And there's tons of dust. We expected them to at least cover the dust, which is a mandate given to the contractors when they are working on anything. And unfortunately, in the last 3 years, we haven't seen any of that happening. Not just in this road, but several other roads of Gurugram, Hamilton Road, MG Road, Vyapar Kendra Road, and other roads too.
Just for the viewers watching right now, Gauri, I want to just put a perspective in place. You know, Golf Course Road today is perhaps the one road which is the most expensive per square feet in the country. You pay the maximum amount of money. You have to be a billionaire, a startup founder, a really, a CXO to be able to afford that kind of living. And even there, that's the air people are breathing. AQI of 300 plus, a baseline AQI of 200 throughout the year as well. So that's the quality of life one gets in Gurugram. And like I've been saying, I don't know why the rates are the way they are, and I don't even understand why people pay those the way they do. And, and often, Gauri, what happens is that in the question of AQI and bad air, Gurugram is often neglected. Gurugram comes into focus when we talk about traffic, because we've seen those traffic snarls. We saw it over, Christmas and over New Year's as well. And what you're saying is true. Dust is a major contributor, but so is vehicular pollution because traffic management is so poor. But something happened in Gurugram, right? I used to be a resident there, and I can tell 5 years ago, this was not the case. What do you think has changed?
I think what has changed is a lot of projects which have been announced. There have been a spate of infrastructural projects which have been announced. There's been a spate of construction and real estate projects which have been announced. And many of them lie in abeyance or they go very slow, for various reasons. It could be because of land acquisition reasons, it's because the plans have changed, it's because the contractors are not doing a great work. It could be because of some changes which are happening in the whole system. The fact is that and this is not going to lessen. It's just going to really keep going up because Gurgaon is now announced a global city, so construction is going to continue growing in Gurgaon. Unfortunately, the administration has not kept in pace with the infrastructural development. That how do you really create a sustainable city? How do you create a livable city? It was this just 2 days before 31st that I decided I'm going to quit Gurgaon. After 15 years of working on the ground, after 15 years of literally pushing so much change in Gurgaon, I realized it's not a livable city at all. And with me, there are hundreds. In this movement, in less than 24 hours, there are hundreds of people who have joined actually. Maybe not on the ground, but they're all on WhatsApp. They have actually been sharing so much of their anguish over a period of time. And Sonal, I must share with you this pain started when I started seeing every second person I would talk to down with the nebulizer, having asthmatic problems. And myself, for the first time in my years, I was down with a cough, which became a bronchial cough for 20 days. This is when I realized that
Hold on a second. Gauri, are you telling me that after fighting for Gurugram for so long, after stating in fast as well to draw attention on the problem, you've decided to quit? You are planning to leave Gurgaon forever?
Absolutely. I don't think it's a livable city. It's absolutely dangerous to live here right now.
Wow.
And the quality of the administration is absolutely appalling, including the environment minister. Pollution is not number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the agenda at all. Recently, the minister actually announced that I can't do anything about pollution. It's, I've just given up on it. So when you
why are you still sitting on fast?
Why am I still? Because there's so many people here who I love, whom I've lived with for so many years. It's not for me. This fast is not for me. It's for Gurgaonites, and it's for creating awareness among them. It's for uniting them for this purpose. We've just started accepting the situation, and that is really what is, worrying me. I noticed that when people got together in Delhi, the Delhi government was responding. To what extent they responded, there are certain things the central government needs to do. But I fought with CAQM, I fought with every single authority. Fought in the sense that we brought the right kind of recommendations to them. We've actually, worked through partnerships with every single authority in Gurgaon. But they have not really got it from the top that this is a priority. And to bring this attention to the Haryana government, I've actually taken to the fast. This problem is not going to be in Gurgaon. Wherever I go in India, this problem is going to persist.
Gauri, your story is powerful. It's moving. I'm shocked that a person like you, who loves the city to the core, who has fought for the city, is now calling quits on the city. And you're saying this just cannot happen anymore. The same city, remember, where memes are being made that when foreigners come, when expats come, they do the cleanup and the residents don't care. Well, people like Gauri do care, but nobody's listening. And that is the reason why they are calling it quits on Gurugram. Yet another name, face, and family added to being a pollution refugee. That's what it's come down to. Like I said, what a welcome to 2026. But Gauri, kudos to your courage, and for your well-being, you have to move out. But I really hope more join in and more voices unite on this.
Yes. And I think people have woken up. I can see just hundreds of people have suddenly woken up in this 24 hours, Sonal, because I think they're beginning to realize what kind of gas chamber they've been living in, and which is so unacceptable. The right to live is really a fundamental right. I think the authorities are getting sensitized too, and this process has been an important process. But we are not going to stop here. We're going to continue the movement. There are many actions we are planning to do. Yeah. And I'm hoping change does come before I actually finally call it quits, if I do. Yes.
Well, Gauri, kudos to you. Good luck with that. And we really hope that those in power are listening. This should impact business in Gurugram. This should impact expats are quitting, residents are quitting. What exactly will be the value of Gurugram left? And that's the real question. That should move them, if not health and environment, like you said, not even in the top 5 of their priorities. Thank you, Gauri, for joining us. Good luck with what you do next. All right, with that, we're going to switch into a very quick break. But coming up on the other side, health is pretty much in the focus when it comes to 2026. We talked about bad water, bad air, but what about abuse of antibiotics? That issue now being raised by the Prime Minister himself. Details coming up in a moment from now.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
It's the flu season, and think about it, how many of us actually deal with it in the same way every year, every season? You get a slight sore throat, a fever, body ache. We don't wait, we don't test, we don't even ask questions. We casually just start popping medicines, and not just any medicines, we start popping antibiotics. Azithromycin, amoxicillin, all of these are household names now. In India, these antibiotics, very powerful antibiotics, are swallowed as if they are everyday flu pills, shared by families, suggested by neighbors, sometimes handed out over the counter even without prescription, sometimes recommended by your local chemist as well. And now, that habit is coming back to bite us. Because the reality is this, flu is viral. Antibiotics don't treat viruses, as the name suggests. But the very unnecessary antibiotic dose trains bacteria to fight back. And over time, those bacteria win. That's antimicrobial resistance, AMR. A problem India is already quite deep into. Doctors say common infections are no longer responding to first-line antibiotics. UTIs, pneumonias, post-surgical infections treatments are getting longer, costlier, riskier. It's in this context the warning came from the Prime Minister himself, Narendra Modi, during his Mann Ki Baat address recently. He flagged that AMR resistance, AMR actually, as a serious and growing public health threat, citing findings from the ICMR, the Indian Council of Medical Research, that shows antibiotics in India are steadily losing their effectiveness, largely because of misuse and overuse. He urged people to stop taking antibiotics without medical advice and to complete prescribed courses instead of stopping midway. Doctors across the country backed that message and added an important public service as well. How do you even know and that's the question I often get, how do we even know that the medicine you have is an antibiotic? Well, that picture on your screen is a tell. Look for a red vertical line. That means that it's a prescription-only drug. Check if it says Schedule H or H1. These are antibiotics that legally require a doctor's prescription. And if the medicine name ends with the Cilin, C-I-L-I-N, or mycin, or a floxin, pause, chances are that it's an antibiotic. Doctors say that if you're unsure, always ask them, because taking the wrong drug is no longer harmless. It can actually do more harm to you. And finally, the bigger picture. Indian healthcare has real strength, right? Medicals, treatments here are affordable, access is widespread, treatment is within reach for millions. But the same affordability and availability also creates this challenge of abuse and misuse. And when it comes to antibiotics, remember, misuse today means no cure tomorrow. So we hope that is something that you will keep in mind next time you pop a pill. But to tell us more about that, I'm joined by one of the most sound voices on healthcare and medicine in the country. Very delighted to have Dr. Devi Shetty with us. He's a chairman and senior consultant cardiac surgeon at Narayan Healthcare. Thank you so much, Dr. Shetty, for your time. I have to start by saying this. We are doing our bit. Now, the Prime Minister has also stepped in. Doctors have been saying this for a while now. But how deep really is antibiotic resistance in the country? How often are you seeing it in your patients?
It is very, very, very common. I have been doing cardiac surgery in India for more than 36 years. First 15 years, infection was never a problem. We used to give antibiotic just for a day after a major heart operation and nothing later. And any time when the condition of the patient deteriorated, we never thought it is due to infection or sepsis. Today, unfortunately, when any patient following any treatment deteriorates in the hospital, first diagnosis is sepsis or infection. It is a serious problem because most of the antibiotics have become useless for even common infections. It is a very serious situation. And people should take charge and must start acting now. Otherwise, we will land in trouble.
Right. But, Dr. Shetty, you know this better than I do, that India's affordable, available healthcare is now being counterproductive. The fact that we don't reach out to a doctor, we just go to our local chemist, and often they are the ones who are prescribing. I'll give you an example. My mother was visiting in town and I called up the chemist to say that I need something for, cough. I just wanted some cough sills, maybe just for a throat. And the chemist, on the other hand, is saying, why don't you give azithromycin, because that's just going to cure it.
Yes. It is very sad that we have reached that level, but at least now there is an awareness, and I hope all these antibiotics are prescribed only on doctor's prescription, and it's not difficult to monitor. Today, no pharmacist is expected to give any medicine without the doctor's prescription. And more than a regulation, it is the people who should be aware about the harmful effect of antibiotics. Yes.
Yes. Dr. Shetty, another way in which antibiotics get into our system is through poultry. We recently had a massive egg issue in the country. I don't think people understand that antibiotics which are administered on cows, from where we get our milk, paneer, cheese and the rest of it, all our dairy products, or chickens and hens where we get our eggs, and again poultry from, or non-veg, etc. That also harms our system in a way that we can't help, in a way where citizen awareness can't help either. Could you explain to our viewers simply how it actually enters the system and why it matters?
See, the poultry business, if the chickens are given antibiotics, their weight will increase dramatically, giving more return on investment for the poultry farmers. So, antibiotic consumption in poultry and animal husbandry is significantly higher than its utilization in the real patient care. This is a big problem. It used to be the problem in Europe and most of the developed countries. Now they have really clamped down on all these utilization of antibiotic in poultry farming. So it's a time for our government also start monitoring the utilization of these very dangerous antibiotic in farming. It's very easy. You have to just check the meat and look at the antibiotic content, and that will give a very clear picture.
But that's the challenge, no, Dr. Shetty. In India, our food norms are so weak, filtration and adulteration is so, so high that we barely get to understand. Even an egg is adulterated, even the chicken that you eat is adulterated, even the milk that you consume or milk products that you have, don't have quality checks. That's a huge issue which requires policy changes. In your experience, what is it that the governments can do at this point? Because this is a complicated problem.
Yes. See, every country went through this phase. And now it has reached a level we have no choice. And I'm sure our government will act on it. All we have to do is to take some random samples of meat or chicken or whatever is available and check for the antibiotic. And now, fortunately, these farm and the poultry, the products are getting more and more organized. And as it gets organized, it gets easier and easier for policymakers also to monitor these things. So time is to, this is the time to act, and we can't delay it anymore. Because doctors may not prescribe antibiotic, patient may not take it, but if our fish and the chicken, what we eat, if it is virtually, filled with antibiotic, the whole exercise is futile.
Yeah. Dr. Shetty, in the interest of our viewers, could you explain to, say, my 5-year-old niece and also my 50-year-old grandmom, what happens when you abuse antibiotics? When you either stop taking it midway, don't complete the course, or you take it too often?
Sure. Supposing your auntie or somebody develops cold and cough, it is essentially a viral infection. Taking antibiotic will not make any difference in the recovery. But there are a lot of bacteria in our own body which is just living there. And once you give the antibiotic, bacteria will taste it. After a while, the bacteria will become resistant to the antibiotic. Okay. Now this happens after cold and cough, repeated antibiotic ingestion. A year later, you develop a urinary tract infection with the same bacteria. And doctors, as usual, give the first line of antibiotic, and that doesn't work. Then they try the second level of antibiotic. That may not even work. Then you have a serious problem in hand. The fear is that as you have consumed more antibiotic, you can take it for granted that your bacterial infection, whether in a urinary tract or a lung or following surgery, will not respond to the standard antibiotic. You have to go to the higher antibiotic. Higher antibiotics have more side effects, and they are supposed to be more powerful, even they may not work. There are times you would have tried all the antibiotics, various combinations of antibiotics, and the infection just doesn't get controlled. And we see this happening more and more often. And if this happens following a major surgery, there is a disaster waiting.
Yes, it is indeed. And Dr. Shetty, I have to ask you, also the concept of superbugs. Like I said, we know about it pretty well, but if you had to explain it to our audiences to get this concept of superbugs, how they develop and why India is now having to make even more powerful antibiotics with, like any medicine, even more powerful side effects, that will have to come into picture if this problem is not sorted.
See, the first thing is about making antibiotic. In the last few years, there hasn't been no single new antibiotic which has been introduced to the treatment. It takes billions of dollars to produce an antibiotic. That is the first thing. It is not like you give one antibiotic, it doesn't work, you give the second antibiotic. There are only limited number of antibiotics for the last maybe 10 years. No new antibiotic has been added. And worst thing is, there aren't that many new antibiotics in the pipeline to reassure ourselves, okay, we go through this problem, but soon there will be new antibiotic coming. Nothing is coming because it is very, very expensive to develop this, and the pipeline has virtually exhausted. That is the first thing. The superbug is a bacteria which is resistant to virtually every known antibiotic. And these are becoming rampant. And God forbid, if you get infection with those superbugs, very, very, very hard to control it.
Got it. Dr. Shetty, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for explaining this to us. We really hope voices like yours, that of the Prime Minister as well, are able to get through. But like we discussed, it's not just about changing habits. We need systemic changes as well. We need policy changes and better vigilance on ground, especially when it comes to poultry, etc., for us to actually, get some of that immunity back and avoid further abuse. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, on to the other big story we are tracking here on 5 Live. Artificial intelligence meant to help us to solve problems, but what if it becomes a threat? That's where X's Grok comes in. Elon Musk's AI platform is making headlines and not for the right reasons. Grok is unfiltered, uncensored, and dangerously so. A new trend is spreading on the platform where fake profiles post images of women, then they tag Grok, and what are the prompts? Show her in a bikini, or worse, remove her clothes. Imagine an AI being told to undress women and it actually obeys and posts it online with a massive presence. No consent, no dignity, no checks, no censor. Just clicks and images. Musk has no filters, and clearly neither does Grok now. The trend is going viral, and open Twitter today, you will see all of those. The first post could be just like the one flashing on your screen right now. People who realize how wrong this is at so many levels are fuming. I'm livid. Shiv Sena's UBT MP, then Priyanka Chaturvedi, has now also taken up this matter, has written to the IT Minister, Ashwini Vaishnav, demanding action against this blatant misuse. She joins us live now for more, on this story. Priyanka Chaturvedi, welcome. Thank you so much for taking up this matter on behalf of every woman on the planet, if I can say it that. But this is taking, AI to another level. I don't even know how to describe the story. It could be your or my picture tomorrow.
Absolutely. And it is extremely scary that we are living in times where we, as a woman, even if we want to share some part of our lives, we cannot because we live in the constant danger of our photographs being misused. And earlier we used to have something like a Photoshop. Now we have Grok doing that work. So the prompts that lead you to do things like this should be disabled. This is what I have asked, that we should have some guardrails that as soon as someone asks something problematic, we the grok does not respond to that. They're doing that even with pictures of minor children. I've seen 10-year-old girls also being, pervert men asking that those kids' photographs also to be shown in a bikini, etc., which grok is responding to. So that is extremely problematic, and it can lead to consequences, which could be unfortunate and on a bigger scale. So that is why I felt, as someone who's in the Standing Committee IT and Communications, I should bring this to the attention of the ministry and also tell them that they should, reach out to X and tell them that their AI, while Grok is doing a lot more other good work, but it cannot respond to such prompts that are coming from perverts, from men who think it is absolutely okay. They don't know about women's dignity, privacy, even are seeking authorization.
But
so it's problematic at many levels.
It is. On social media, on any other platform, I can think of YouTube, I can think of the meta ecosystem of Instagram, Facebook, etc. The norms there are very clear. On nudity, there are very clear guidelines that is followed. We constantly, even if, by chance there is a slight too severe moment or blood, etc., you see strikes being, taken by these platforms. I think what's really shocking about this is that X has not taken any action. Elon Musk has not taken any action on this front.
Most of the time, these big techs run away from responsibility or accountability. Under the garb of creativity, innovation, they allow such things to thrive on social media platforms until and unless it's not called out. I think perhaps we'd be the first country, and I would say that I would be perhaps one of the first, who has alerted the IT ministry and said that they should hold X accountable for this. And not just X, even Meta ads that you see, lots of photos that are being used for AI purposes and to feed AI data sets are used from women who don't even know that their photographs are being used. So this can only lead to more serious outcomes and serious circumstances and serious criminality that probably these people who are just putting a prompt out there do not realize. This is a criminal act and they're bound to face the law. But if something like this happening at a massive scale needs to be addressed by those platforms which are allowing AI to respond to prompts such as these. So it can be very well managed. It needs to be taken up seriously. And I'm sure if the IT ministry intervenes, it can be done and would be responded to immediately.
Right. But Priyanka, this is Grok doing it right now. Any other app, I can think of at least 5 in my head right now, I'm not going to name them, which can do exactly this. So this is a larger issue that we've got to tackle. It's not just X.
Yes, exactly. That's why I gave the example of Grok, and I said there are other big tech firms also which work on these generative, prompts that come and respond to the questions that come. So that also needs to be taken up with big techs. Now, we must understand that most of these AI platforms are being driven by big techs. So whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Google, whether it's other platforms like even Facebook, Meta, they need to be called in, spoken to, and told that this is something which will not be tolerated, can lead to criminal consequences, and they are equally accountable for not ensuring that there are enough guardrails, enough spaces, safe spaces for women to be able to do what they want to do on those platforms. So that is unfortunate. I've also been getting a lot of feedback saying that even some people, even women are misusing it, etc. But if you look at the volume of misuse, it's coming from a lot of men who think that they can get away with this behavior.
Who are hiding behind anonymity. I think, so this is a systemic change. It's not a gender issue at all. But Priyanka, you spoke about calling them in and having a chat with them, going by past experiences of how government, in India at least, has tackled or, dealt with big tech. Do you think the government of the day actually has enough say or sway in this matter to actually get some action done?
I think India needs to understand the leverage it enjoys in terms of big tech companies working in India, the kind of profit margins that they look at, the kind of volume of business that they get, the kind of people who are on these platforms. I think once India understands that leverage with a population of 1.4 billion and more people getting onto social media platforms and getting on the internet would only increase their market base. So till we don't step in as the market leaders where a lot of data is being consumed and is being utilized, till then, I think the big tech will continue to get away with their responsibility. That is where I think we need to, put a foot in, but also at the same time being aware that we are not extending it to a point where we start interfering in private spaces.
Got it. Priyanka, there are also some, messages I'm seeing as a response to this entire trend of talking about a complete ban on X, on how it's become like this, one of those spaces which is just being abused largely or being misused in other manners. I want to understand what's your take on that.
No, absolutely not. I'm not in favor of banning anything or, putting down anything at all. We can find solutions by holding them responsible and by sharing that responsibility. Even from our end, the need for education is so important right now in terms of how you behave in digital societies. We must understand from civil societies that we engage with has now moved largely to digital platforms. So how do you engage? How do you ensure that you do not get into any criminal act? Is something that needs to be made aware of. So it is a joint program in motion which we need to work on. But most of the time, the big techs run away from taking that responsibility by saying that either they take the safe harbor route or they say we are just a medium of communication, so they can't be held responsible. So responsibility would need to be allocated and also adhered to and lived up to.
Got it. Last question, Priyanka Chaturvedi. Have you got a response from the IT Minister so far?
I did see a statement from the IT Minister in response. I think he was addressing some conference where he said that, yes, social media platforms will need to be accountable for the kind of content that they get away with. But must remember now, in this particular case, a prompt is being given and they are responding to those prompts. So you can very well, as a platform, you can very well control those algorithms and those prompts to not be responded to. So that is something which definitely lies, the onus of it lies on those social media platforms, and they will have to stand up to this responsibility.
All right, Priyanka Chaturvedi, we'll leave it there at the moment. Thank you so much for picking up this issue, and we really hope that the government responds to this one. We have little hope from big tech, like you said.
Thank you so much.
All right, on to some more news coming in. This time, the CAQM subcommittee has decided to revoke all actions as envisaged under the GRAP stage 3 and 4 with immediate effect. That basically means GRAP 3 has been removed in Delhi NCR. In the entire NCR region, all actions under stage 1 and 2 to extend on GRAP over there, but GRAP 3 restrictions have now been removed. Now all this, like we said, like today the wind speed was pretty good. AQI in the National Capital Region dipped to and touched 200 levels. We'll have to wait and see what it's at the moment, but that's the latest coming in. Amit Bharadwaj joins us for the very latest on this. Amit, this is another example, the urgency with which the CAQM and the entire committee removes GRAP measures versus the urgency with which they are enforced. This is the third or the fourth example I have seen in this entire winter pollution season. One day of good air and moved.
Right, Sonal, and more so that whenever we have seen the air pollution levels going down in Delhi, it is not because of efforts made by the agencies, rather because of the nature's intervention. And yesterday itself, the wind speed had improved, and it was very much being predicted that the air quality index in Delhi and NCR region would be improving, and that's what happened this morning. And by noon today, the overall AQI of Delhi was recorded at 234, because of which the CAQM promptly revoked GRAP 3 restrictions. Now that means that ban on construction activities that has been removed. Construction activities can happen in Delhi and the NCR cities. Ban on BS3 petrol vehicles as well as the BS4 non-compliant diesel vehicles, that has been removed as well. But we'll have to see as to what will happen to Delhi and the adjoining cities, and more so to the residents when the wind speed reduces again and the air quality again starts becoming toxic. And hence, your question is a big, valid one, a bigger one, that why such urgency in revoking the restrictions when we know that the moment wind speed will reduce or there will be no wind speed, the air quality will plummet and again Delhi's air will be toxic. Back to you.
All right, and then we'll see how urgently CAQM actually steps into action over there. But as we speak to all our viewers watching for the first time, it was on Christmas Day, remember, when the air quality has had dipped to below 200. And as we speak, it's still at 202 here in the National Capital Region. At the moment, from red, it has gone to purple. It should be 50. We are at 200. But GRAP measures have now been removed. Let's see. This is all thanks to air, remember, the wind speed, which is now literally taking or, flowing out the air pollution, which seems to be clogged in a Ziploc manner here in Delhi NCR. But that's working for now. Let's see how it goes in the days ahead. For the moment, that's all we could pack in this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again on Monday. Bye-bye.